What is up? We are wrestling maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here, back with a brand new episode of Hot Takes, where I give you guys my hot takes on things going on in the professional wrestling world. But if you're not, we are Wrestling Maniac, you already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers. The best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course, you already know, the grind is real. And normally on Saturday nights, I give myself a break from content creating, and I usually spend a lot of time with my family and my friends, and really get to catch up with the outside world. And this past Saturday night, I had no plans going on, so I decided to why not watch NXT's Vengeance Day and make a review video here on Hot Takes. Since there hasn't really been any crazy wrestling news going on in the community right now, I figured why not review NXT's Vengeance Day. So here's a quick background of me as an NXT viewer. I've always, enjoyed NXT. But when Vince McMahon decided to have NXT go against AEW in the Wednesday Night Wars, I actually boycotted NXT and, watched AEW because I felt WWE was trying to sabotage AEW when they first, got on TNT. But of course, through time, NXT would go back to Tuesday nights, which I think was a great decision on, WWE's part. And I started tuning into NXT 2.0, but then after a while, I just stopped watching it. It started getting really stale, and now I only pay attention to certain superstars that I like on the NXT brand. And after this pay-per-view, Vengeance Day, I gotta say, I was very impressed, and NXT definitely blew me away. It really felt like one of those old takeovers, and I really think that NXT, I'm gonna start tuning in and doing reaction videos probably on Wednesdays after I get out of work. Because from start to finish, the match cards were absolutely incredible, and some of these guys I have not really paid attention to until now, and let me tell you, a lot of these superstars caught my attention when I was watching this, and I'm very happy that I actually decided to watch this, and now I think I'm really going to have to do a watch along with Danny H Vlogs on Stand and Deliver. And I believe that's going to be earlier in the day before night one of WrestleMania in Los Angeles. So, with that being said, I want to, break down the matches a little bit and give you guys my thoughts on it. I don't want to make this video too long because last week on Hot Takes, Danny and I, we, talked for over an hour about the Royal Rumble. But now, let's get into the match card. So, we start off with Wes Lee versus Dijak for the NXT North American Championship. And I gotta say, this was a great way to start the show off. You had, great spots from both Dijak and Wes Lee. I've been a huge fan of Dijak's work since Ring of Honor, and he did a lot of wrestling matches in the independent circuit in my area. Blitzkrieg Pro, who we are wrestling, we sponsor a lot of their shows. Great independent promotion out there. Dijak did a lot of matches for them, so I'm very familiar with his work, and I've always been a big fan of his. So seeing him on the spotlight against a guy like Wes Lee, who I've also followed since Impact Wrestling, I think, very talented. And I gotta say, both of these guys did absolutely amazing, and I'm starting to really enjoy this new Dijak that we're getting. I really think the entrance is there, the look is there, and this could really, take him to the next level, I do think. And Wes Lee, I gotta say, I loved his tag team with Nash Carter. Unfortunately, Nash Carter is not a part of WWE anymore due to some things with his ex-wife or girlfriend. Wes Lee did an incredible job in this match, and I think that it was a very solid match overall. Moving on now to the next match, it was for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. We had Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus Kiana James and Fallon Henley. And I gotta say, I'm not really familiar with any four of these women that competed in this match, but I really gotta say, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter really impressed me in this match. just some of the tag team maneuvers that they pulled in this match I've never seen before, and they really caught my eye. And something I really don't understand is why WWE, like on the main roster with Raw and SmackDown, why don't they bring some of these NXT tag team women up to the main roster? They're really lacking tag teams in that division. I can literally only name 2 or 3 tag teams that are on the main roster. And with NXT, I think, the women, that is one of their biggest, positive things that I can say out of this show. I really enjoyed both women matches that we had on the card. And Katana and Kaden, they did an incredible job. And I guess they were the longest reigning NXT Women Tag Team Champions. And I really hope that eventually we can get them on the main roster and give Damage Control, some competition. I really think that some of these talent that aren't being used in the women's division on the main roster, we need to find some storylines that pair them up as tag teams. I really want WWE to start pushing the women's tag team because there's so much phenomenal women superstars on their roster that they really need to be utilizing a lot better. And if there's one positive in WWE, it's definitely the women performers out there. Which is why the Women's Royal Rumble was better than the Men's Rumble. There's my hot take right there for you. Moving on now to the next match, we had a 2 out of 3 falls match. Apollo Crews versus Carmelo Hayes, and I gotta say, this was a great technical match. Absolutely enjoyed it from start to finish. Carmelo Hayes, I'm very familiar with his work because he actually, before getting on to NXT, he wrestled a lot of matches for this independent promotion in my area, Northeast Wrestling, as Christian Casanova. Very phenomenal talent, and I knew from the get-go when I saw this guy, he was going to be a big superstar. And I was so happy that WWE, pushed him. They booked him absolutely amazing from, the start to now. I think he's definitely established himself as a superstar, winning the breakout tournament and being a 2-time North American champion. I also really like the addition of Trick Williams by his side. I think that gives him, that right-hand man, because it just reminds me of like an old 1994 Shawn Michaels and Diesel connection, except their own thing, which I really like a lot. And I really think that Carmelo Hayes is going to be a very big, promising superstar for years to come in this promotion. And he's going to be one of the top guys in WWE 5-10 years from now. Calling it right now on this episode of Hot Takes. Great match overall. And, of course, Apollo, his buddy turned on him. The guy that was with him, I don't even, know his name, but I guess, he turned on him and stuff. They were paired together when Apollo was doing this whole Nigerian thing, and he ended up, attacking Apollo after the match, creating a new storyline, which I'm very curious to see what's going to happen moving forward. Moving on now to the next match on the card, we had a Fatal 4-Way NXT Tag Team Championship match. The New Day defended the championships against Pretty Deadly versus Andre Chase University versus Gallus. And I gotta say, this was a fun match overall, and I knew the New Day weren't going to retain their championships. And Gallus actually won the titles, and I'd never really watched NXT UK, never really had the time for it, and I gotta say, for the first time seeing Gallus, I think they made a great decision there, having them hold the titles. I like how these tag teams are legitimate, and I'm surprised that Andre Chase, he's over with the crowd. That was cool to see. But I wish that Andre Chase would wear wrestling gear and not look like a bank teller. That's the only thing I can critique, really. And one thing I will say that I will critique on, NXT, I am not a fan of Booker T and this other guy on commentary. I just don't know why. There's really no chemistry there. And personally, for me, I didn't really enjoy the commentary work for the show. But the talent definitely carried the show throughout, which was absolutely awesome to see. Moving on now to the next match, we had a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. This probably was one of my favorite matches of the night. We had Gigi versus JC versus Roxanne Perez, and I gotta say, I've never really watched Roxanne Perez in Ring of Honor or, NXT really until now, and holy shit. She is going to be having a bright future in WWE. She really did a fantastic job in this match, and I think they really did an incredible job storytelling throughout this because they built it up like Gigi and JC because, of course, they're part of Toxic Attraction, one of my favorite groups. I wish Mandy Rose was still there. They have really built that tag team, and I really liked how throughout the storyline, Perez was trying to break down that, tag team because, of course, there's only one championship and there's two of them. And I really like how they told the story there because JC and Gigi, had a plan going into this match that they were going to take the title off of Perez, but because they both wanted to be NXT Women's Champion, it caused some issues in it, and it made a perfect finish in this match when Roxanne Perez, kicked Gigi onto the table and pulled off her finisher. The Rock Pop, I really enjoyed that finisher right there. Perfect finish. And I gotta say, they really need to bring JC and Gigi up to the main roster because I think that they're going to be a great tag team if they keep them together, which I really hope they do. And hopefully Mandy Rose can come back to WWE soon and be a part of Toxic Attraction because they were one of the highlights that I would actually pay attention to every week on NXT when I would go on to WWE YouTube channel to watch some of the highlights. But absolutely amazing. Roxanne Perez, I am a huge fan of her work now after seeing her perform, and I'm definitely going to be doing some research after this and see some of her work previously. Great. The women did a fantastic job on this show. I was absolutely mind blown. But now we get into our main event, which was a steel cage match for the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller. And they have been doing a fantastic job building this rivalry. And even in my hot takes last week with the Royal Rumble, one of my negative things in the Men's Rumble was not having Braun Breaker in the Rumble match because they could have had Grayson Waller, interfere, throw him out of the Rumble, and that could have been a perfect way to advertise NXT Vengeance Day and get some eyes on NXT. But I gotta say, they did a fantastic job, building the storyline, having the two go at it at the Performance Center. Grayson Waller just trying to get under Braun Breaker's skin by having, the shirt, Braun Breaker is my bitch. Loved it. Even, when they showed the prelude to the entrances, Grayson Waller was wearing Scott Steiner's friggin' spider thing on his head, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And I really think both of these guys have a bright future in WWE, and I think they did a fantastic job in this match. And normally the new school cage matches, I don't really enjoy that much, but this one I really enjoyed a lot. They did a fantastic job, and I've said this for the longest time, and I'm going to say it right here. Hopefully We Are Wrestling can clip this. Braun Breaker is going to be the next big superstar in WWE. 5-10 years from now, Braun Breaker will be main eventing WrestleMania, and he is going to be the next big face of the promotion, I think. He has all the tools in the bag to be that next guy, and I think that if they can continue to book him properly, he's going to be that guy. And overall, this show was absolutely incredible. Besides the commentators, I really enjoyed this, and the entrance stage was actually pretty unique as well, which was nice, and I'm definitely going to have to tune in to NXT Stand and Deliver. But one thing, too, I do got to say as well before I close off this week's episode of Hot Takes. The one thing I really like about NXT 2.0, and a lot of people have criticized NXT 2.0 because of how legendary NXT Black and Gold was. I really like how NXT is going back to developing superstars. because there was a time where NXT stopped developing guys once, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Big E, those guys were getting called up to the main roster, the guys that were a part of FCW before it turned into NXT. There was a time where NXT started to, grab former Impact Wrestling guys and guys that never really got the chance to perform on the big stage, like Eric Young, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe. And also some Ring of Honor talent like Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole, Undisputed Era. I really liked how now NXT is going back to their old roots and trying to form their own superstars of tomorrow. Because something that I've always said was WWE, they strive when they create their own talent. You want to have the next Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin's, Rock's, John Cena's, Roman Reigns. And WWE has always done a fantastic job establishing their own superstars. I feel like whenever they go out to, get guys that have made it already, that didn't need WWE as a platform, they will not ever get to that John Cena GOAT status. And I think, with NXT going back in this route, pretty much training guys that, have had some years in the independent circuit, but not on a big stage, and get to, create their own superstars in the Performance Center. I think that's going to really help, WWE in the next 5 to 10 years. And I really think Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker, those two guys, professional wrestling maniacs out there, need to keep our eyes on them, because the future is looking bright in WWE, and I really hope eventually AEW can do something like NXT for, their talent. I think Ring of Honor, that would have been a perfect thing to do, but they're going to be, moving forward with that as its own promotion. But that is all. Let me know in the comment section below how you guys felt about NXT Vengeance Day. If you have not watched it yet, I recommend you guys to, go on Peacock and watch it, because it was absolutely amazing, and because of it, I'm going to be tuning into NXT regularly now, and maybe even make some reaction videos to it on Wednesdays. But if you enjoyed this week's episode of Hot Takes, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me on my social medias, and if you want to go follow me on my personal channel, Best One Donnie, I'm posting content over there consistently now. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.